much after this.
Job description. What? No one there. It's awfully quiet. Welcome, everybody, to the January 27th, 2020 agenda meeting. South Plainfield Mayor and Council. This meeting has been advertised in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and JSA 10:4-6, with adequate notice of this meeting being provided to the borough's 2 official newspapers and also published on the borough's website. Ms. Antonides, will you call the roll, please?
Yes, Councilman Benjavanga.
Here.
Councilwoman Mott.
Here.
Councilman Smith.
Here.
Councilman White.
Here.
Councilman Bullock.
Here.
Council President Faustini.
Here.
Thank you. Can you take us through a review of tonight's agenda, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this evening there are no matters on for closed session. We have the approval of minutes for January 13th. We do have the addition of a proclamation pertaining to the Lunar New Year. We have 6 ordinances on this evening for a second reading by title. There are 8 resolutions on this evening, 4 matters of correspondence, payment of bills totaling $464,707.42. Council reports, and we conclude with public comments. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any council comments on agenda items?
None?
Nothing, Mayor.
Mayor, I just wanted to mention that Resolution 2076 will be a refund for 2019 of $615, and it'll be a reduction in 2020 of $615 as well. So you're looking at, $1,230 in total.
Which resolution was that?
27.
2076.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other council comments, questions, concerns?
No, Mayor.
Amy, do we need a vote to get this proclamation on the agenda, or is that?
You should have a vote to add
okay.
it to the agenda officially.
Can I get a motion to add the Lunar New Year 2020 proclamation to tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Councilman White, seconded by Councilwoman Faustini. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That's good, because we have some visitors here for that. At this point, we'll open it up for public comments on agenda items only. Seeing none, close the public portion. Can I ask for a motion to adjourn tonight's agenda meeting?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Councilman White, seconded by Councilman Benjavanga. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Seeing no reason, we'll go right to delay. We'll go right to the public meeting. And this meeting has been advertised in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and JSA 10:4-6, with adequate notice of this meeting also being provided to the borough's 2 official newspapers and published on the borough's website. Ms. Antonides, will you call the roll once more?
Councilman Benjavanga.
Here.
Councilwoman Mott.
Here.
Councilman Smith.
Here.
Councilman White.
Here.
Councilman Bullock.
Here.
Council President Faustini.
Here.
Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation by Councilman Smith. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we ask that you look over us as we govern our residents in our community. But today we ask that you would look over the families of those who lost their lives in the tragic accident with Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and the 7 other members in that plane helicopter crash. We also ask that you guide our community and our residents and keep us all in your arms and faithful guidance. In this we pray. Amen.
So again, we'll open it up for public comments on agenda items only. Seeing none, close the public portion. Can I get a motion for the approval of the council minutes for January 13th agenda and public?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman White, seconded by Councilman Woloch. Ms. Antonides, can you call the roll?
Councilman Benjavanga?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mott?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilman Bullock?
Yes.
Council President Faustini?
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. For final adoption, ordinance 2162.
And ordinance amending Chapter 317 of the Code of the Borough of South Plainfield entitled Parks and Recreation Areas.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for final adoption on ordinance 2162?
So moved.
Second, Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Smith, seconded by Councilman White. As this is for final adoption, I'll open it up for public comments on ordinance 2162. Seeing none, close the public portion. Council comments?
No, Mayor.
Ms. Antonides, can you call the roll?
Councilman Benjavanga?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mott?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilman Bullock?
Yes.
Council President Faustini?
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. Before we go on to the next ordinance, we'll read tonight's proclamation. Lunar New Year 2020. Whereas Saturday, January 25th, 2020, commemorated Lunar New Year, predominantly celebrated by those of Asian and Pacific Islander descent. And on this special day, families gather to celebrate and prepare for the arrival of a new year of good health and prosperity. Parades, community events, and family meals illustrate the rich cultural history and diversity. And whereas as we look forward to a joyous new year, we proudly reflect on the contributions of rich in history and ask our friends and neighbors to join us in the celebration as the door to the year of the rat opens. And we wish good fortune, health, and happiness to all those who celebrate. Now, therefore, I, Matthew Pinesh, Mayor of the Borough of South Plainfield, do hereby proclaim January 25th, 2020 as Lunar New Year and urge all citizens to join in celebrations for a prosperous and healthy new year. And we do have some representatives here from the Buddhist Cultural Center located in South Plainfield. You guys can all join us up front, and any council members who would like to join us as well. Should we do this? Yeah, why don't you guys come up here? Yeah. Come on up. You can have a seat. You have a seat in there. You just hold this.
My honor to have you.
Thank you very much. Assistant.
Come on all the way down. Fill in the chairs. How's that? You're getting better. Just pull the mic up.
Mayor, council members, it's our great honor to be here to receive the proclamation. As an active member, Buddha's Light International Association, New Jersey chapter, will continue to support the borough involving charity, street cleanup, parade, and other activities. We also would like to introduce multicultural events and Veggie Aid program, since such culture programs to this community to keep a good affinity with our neighbors and friends in South Plainfield. We're looking forward to further cooperation and support to the borough. Thank you so much for having us here tonight. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for having us at the center. I know several of us were able to celebrate Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year as well on Saturday at the center. So thank you for your hospitality, and I think we all had a great time. So. Okay, can I get actually for final adoption, ordinance 2163.
Bond ordinance providing for various improvements to the pool housing building, parking lot, Katy Lane, and other various site improvements, all within the pool utility in and by the Borough of South Plainfield in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey, appropriating $420,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $400,000 bonds or notes of the borough to finance part of the cost thereof.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for final adoption on ordinance 2163?
Motion?
Second.
Motion by Council President Faustini, seconded by Councilman Benjavanga. As this is for, Ms. Antonis, can you call the roll, please?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. As this is for final adoption, we'll open it up for public comments. Steve? Public comments on ordinance 2163.
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
Steve Daniel, 323 Wadsworth Avenue in South Plainfield. I'd like to know in the ordinances other various site improvements. What are those, Mr. Mayor?
And you want to go through the various,
Right now, when you're looking at the 420,
be me.
we're looking at a site,
Yeah, like you.
maybe we can just move one of these. Just move one off and I'll just talk loud enough. So the site improvements, we're looking one at the pool house.
Right.
We're expecting the pool house to be somewhere in the neighborhood of about $200,000, okay? We do believe we have about a $35,000 or so improvement that needs to be done to our pump house, which turned out being an issue in regards to one of the walls that actually Dominic picked up when we were doing the site visit there, and we brought a structural engineer in. Then after that, we're hoping that that money will handle the fencing in the parking lot on the side where the new entrance is gonna be. So really, when we had done our original presentations at that time, we were hoping obviously that we'd be able to do the pool house if, everything, worked out perfectly, but it was never in any of the presentations. I don't believe it was in any of the presentations. It was a desire of ours. Certainly didn't include the parking lot. So obviously didn't know that there was gonna be an issue with one of the walls moving. So, those are some of the things that we're looking at doing with that. The pool house, we're gonna do a significant improvement to it. We're gonna make a family bathroom that's handicap accessible, that's gonna be accessible from the exterior, anybody's gone to the pool, the exterior of the pool, so you don't have to walk through the baby pool area. So if you're familiar with the pool, there's a lot of very, very significant improvements that need to be taking place here.
All right. Thank you. Also, I have a question. You said the pool house. So why wasn't that originally, when the architects or engineers went over that site, why didn't they see that and include that in the original projection? I don't understand that. If you see a pool house, I think you would survey it and do a study on it. And if it needs improvement, improve it in the original presentation. All this added stuff comes in that stuff should have been surveyed when they originally did the site survey, I think.
Well, as I was mentioning, one of the items that came in is the bid did come in. This isn't like bidding out a a road where we maybe have, a half dozen road contractors in town. Obviously, these types of commercial pools, you don't have, a bunch of them in
Right.
South Plainfield. When we bid out the project came in about 10% more than what we expected. So what we originally had anticipated. So, on a road project that's $500,000, 10% is $50,000. Well, on a project that we're estimating to be $2 million, $2.1 million, if it comes in 10% more, well, guess what? That's $200,000. That $200,000 ballpark is roughly what we were hoping this pool house would be.
Right. All right. I could see when you dig the walls up, you might find stuff that you didn't know was there. But
Yeah,
I
one
thought,
of the things, Steve, is that when we dug the foundation around the actual pool house,
yeah,
2 to 3 courses of block are totally disintegrated and compromising the structure. So if you actually look there now in the back of the pool, and you'll see pits that are dug,
right,
and there's 2 or 3, because it's cinder blocks, so the water eats away at the cinder block, the old cinder block. And there's 2 or 3 courses of the block that are totally, like,
Gone.
some 6 inches
All
in
right.
underneath. And then in the pump house, there's a crack in the wall that you could see daylight through, which compromises it all the way down
All
to the
right.
bottom, which you didn't really see that until you got into the nitty-gritty, and Dominic was the one that pointed it
right.
out.
The crack in the wall wasn't visible before?
When you were inside, you had to go way down into the bottom
All right,
to look into the bottom corners. When you're walking around the surface, you can't really see it.
all right. Well, I think somebody, an
Well-
architect or engineer should have picked that up. He should have went down the
Well,
bottom
the
and
pool,
checked.
the pump house is staying.
Yeah,
We just have to make sure that structurally,
Right.
it's jacked up and made sure that
All
the
right.
footings are put in properly.
also, I wonder if, I don't go to the pool and I'm not a member, how much money are you willing to dump into this project? Are you gonna foresee other things coming up that's gonna cost us more money, more bonds?
Well, you know what, I guess one of my
Because what's the bonds up to now with this added cost?
with this right now, you're looking at a total of $3 million. It's 3.2, but with the debt, it's $3 million, $3,050,000. One of the questions I have fielded, what additional money is this gonna be per household? So there are some changes, whenever you're doing a project of this scale or this size, you have minor changes, some on the right side of the ledger, some on the left side of the ledger. So I'd love to sit here and tell everybody it's all good news, or, some's good news, some, so originally, I think we had done presentations saying that, we're looking at even though we believe the pool useful life should be the same, about 25 years, for bonding, I think we were using estimates of 20 years. So the reality is, if you look at the ordinances, we actually came in with an ordinance of 15 years. So the actual payback on two of the bonds, and then the last bond ordinance is 10 years. So in talking to bond counsel last week and saying, let's give me the most updated version, now that the useful life isn't 20, it's actually down to 5, well, it should say useful life, the amortization life is 15 rather than 20, but yet, we've had to do an additional 300, and now we're doing a pool house 400. What do all these little moving pieces mean? Interest rate goes down because you're paying it back sooner, there's more money at play here. So what does that do to us? So when we were originally doing the presentations, we were estimating it to be roughly $20 per household, and that's in a worst case scenario. That's if none of the debt is being paid at all by the membership of the pool itself. So where are we today? And where we are today really isn't a lot different, because when we were saying 20, we were really more like 18 and a half. So really what we're at right now is $23.47. And, that's where we are when you roll up this $3 million.
But Glenn, I think we don't foresee huge additions and additional bonding coming from this project, which I think
I can
that's
mention a
the
couple things
question
here.
that he was.
I don't foresee any additional borrowing in this project. I don't foresee the borough having to do like an amendment to the contract with Mid-Atlantic to exceed their 20%. Those were all things a couple months ago that we had concerns. I mean, as of right now, I don't foresee those things happening. Like I said, I don't have a complete crystal ball, but one of the big questions that we're getting is it going to open on time? And as of right now, the weather has cooperated. We're supposed to be getting in a second crew this week. You know, we've had some issues with the soil. On the flip side, you know, we've had some things, like I said, in the positive direction where we're getting much better weather in January than what we had anticipated. So as of right now, you know, we're still holding to the timeline that it's gonna be open when it's supposed to be open. And, you know, just kind of close out this conversation since we're having it. In February, we'll be coming up with the rates. That's one of the other questions. What is this gonna do to the membership? I mean, I'm not gonna hand out rates right now, but we're not looking at a substantial change to what everybody's already used to. So there may be some changes in.
So
some
I think what it
fees.
boils down is we don't anticipate any additional borrowing, right?
No, we don't.
We don't anticipate any more expenses. I think the curveballs that were thrown to us, I don't think we expect any more. But very unlikely that you're gonna see any more. And yeah, the idea is that you build up the facility to that something where, you know, we obviously know there's a demand and a need in the community, right? And that was even for the existing pool in the shape that was in. So now, when you have this project, the hope is that you have a much better product that attracts more residents and non-residents to the facility, and it starts to grow legs and function more and more on its own. We can't sit here and say that how successful that's gonna be or where it's gonna be at this point in the game. But the idea is that's what everybody was marching to, and that was the vision, right? So, and I think, you know, you've got enough of a product here and enough of demand where you're gonna see that materialize. But we don't know at this point, but I don't know if that answers your question, but.
No, it does.
Does it? Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Mayor, I think that one of the most important things that Glenn spoke about is that when you add in these and you look at shorter-term bonds and
Yeah.
and you do the amortization schedules, you know, going from the estimate of $20 to $23.47, you know, to do those major improvements or the things that were unforeseen is well worth it.
And you're still, you know, at the kind of you're in the ballpark of where the project was originally envisioned,
Correct. And that's under the, like I said to you.
to use that curveball analogy.
Yes, and that's the situation, as though the full cost of this is gonna be borne by, you know, the full, you know, rateable base of the borough and not just the members. And that's
Correct.
probably very unlikely. This is a worst-case scenario.
Yep, that's correct. Okay, any other public comments on ordinance 2163? Yep.
Roberto Sayers, 414 West Crescent. You said something very interesting just now, that there was a clamoring for the pool.
I said there's a clamoring for
Well,
the pool. I said,
well, the need.
there's clearly, I think, a need for the pool, right? There is an appetite for the pool. I
What-
wouldn't know if you call that a clamoring. I don't think you're
Well,
gonna get
I
85% of
think
the town
that there's a
residents to
need,
come out,
yeah.
but there is a need, put it that way. I think there is a need.
What percentage of the residents voted for the pool?
I'm not sure what the exact turnout was. That was a while ago. It's usually low. We
The
know.
percentage of the registered voters was about 15%, which is
That voted for the pool?
That came out.
10%,
I
whatever
mean,
it was, yeah. I mean, it was
contrast that-
around what the referendum was for the school, maybe half or something like that.
Right, and contrast that to an actual election where, what did we have, 25, 26%? What was it, a general election that we had, right? I mean, when you look at it in those terms, it's not that, you're not gonna have everybody that's gonna come out, and we had, again, multi-days where you had the opportunity to come out. But again, just because, you may feel strongly one way, or maybe you don't feel strongly at all, to judge by what percentage of the folks that you get out and actually vote on that is very difficult to do.
Yeah, the reason I ask is because speaking to some people around town, they felt that there weren't proper notification or time to vote, although you said you had several days, but most people I spoke
Roberta,
with.
let me just say this. We had 4 information sessions. They were all in the newspaper.
Yeah.
Okay? Plus, we had it a whole week long, and we advertised it. Facebook. So we had more public information sessions on that referendum than we ever had ever before. And it was a week long. It wasn't like a one-day, 12-hour or 14-hour event. I mean, it was all week long, so the chatter was going back. So to say there was a notification, I don't know.
I'm,
if
I'm
that's-
just voicing what I've
Yeah,
heard around.
I'm just
And-
saying that there was more notification for that than a regular general election.
And one of the questions I asked for something that affect all the residents and the tax-paying residents here
Yeah.
is, why didn't you include a flyer in the bill like you did with the company that did the shop, South Plainfield, letting people know, hey, you know, we having a
Well, at the time,
voting
you're
on
talking
that.
about the tax bills?
Yeah,
So the tax bills went out before we set the referendum date, right?
Well-
The sewer bills. So how, we didn't, they go out mid-January, and our first information session was, I believe, at the last week of February. So we didn't even, and John was there and Christine were there, and we didn't even have a date set or any plans as to how much it was gonna be or anything like that until well after those bills got sent out, so.
And there's no guarantee, Roberto, that even an insert or, a sewer letter or a tax letter that somebody's necessarily reading that. I think we leveraged the local newspapers here. Glenn gave a presentation at a council meeting, which is televised and available on both, local access channels. So, but again, turn around, look look who's here tonight, right? I mean, so.
I'm not concerned about me.
No, I know, so, but we get this often.
Now, you see how that looks, right? Because
No.
the original pool, I'll show you. The original pool was what, when we started, 1 million,
No, it was 2.4 mil,
2.5
2.5 million.
and at this point, it went up 100%, 3 point,
Well, no, I don't
3
think,
million,
100% of
No, that would
2.5
make it
million
almost
is
5 million.
$5
That would make it
Well,
almost
yeah.
5 million.
well, 50%.
It went up about
Right.
20%.
Yeah.
It's like, how much more is gonna go up?
But here's the thing that you're not, we have the job as governing body members that we looked at the professionals said that you have a 20% contingency. But in that 20% contingency, there wasn't pipes in the walls and we did borings all over. There was unforeseen pipes in the walls, there was unforeseen soil conditions, even though we did the drillings. There was foundation collapses, there was, the parking lot, and we said the parking lot and the pool house are not included in this because we need to see what the actual price is to get the pool done. The main thing was getting the pool done because the pool house could have been done, at that time, we were thinking, okay, we can get it open with the pool house with just doing some TLC, but after realizing how much damage was done, all the sewer pipes were collapsed, that's why you had all the water in the bathrooms
Yeah.
that were flooding into the bathrooms.
And you
so-
couldn't see that until the construction
Yeah.
did begin. So when they started to pull away the foundation around the pool house, then they were able to see underneath that the footings were rotting.
But again, forgive me if I'm wrong, your question was how much more are we gonna see? We're not, the CFO just, mentioned that in the last public comment, that we don't expect there to be any additional money. The number's what it is. I don't think there's any expectation that you're gonna see any additional demand on there, any additional cost overruns.
And the bottom line is, when unforeseen events come about, and you have to make a decision as a council, you either say, okay, listen, we either do this or we scrap the project, right? And so you don't want to scrap a project that's important to the borough, that the voters did overwhelmingly support, as far as the 80 to 85% of the project. Now, we just have to take it to the end of the road. We don't have to, like we said, we do a democracy day, okay? Because we feel that the voters should have input on it, right? But we also have to make a decision if that thing comes higher. It happens.
How about what you just said? You either do this or scrap the project. How about saying, well, this is gonna go up so much, let's go back to the voters and say, are you guys willing?
Well, I think that when you're already
Wait,
halfway
hold on,
through the
Councilman.
destruction of the project,
hold
I
on.
don't think you could do that.
Look, yeah, you can't, it's gonna be tight enough to meet, a May opening now. Because you see
Yeah.
some overruns, you can't then go out and again, based on, what are we gonna do? Put a flyer in the tax letter to make sure that that's publicized? This notion that you're gonna, bring every decision on a project that goes out to Democracy Day, that's already been, we went out there, we got the gauge that the community supports it. You can't be going out every time there's and again, I'm not saying there's some significant increases, but within normal construction of that magnitude, right? It's within a 20% overage, so it's within what people would expect.
Well, you also gotta remember that we were already through the demo,
Yeah.
starting the rebar, starting the, a lot of and we have a contract with the contractor, right? So we've already contracted with the contractor, and so when unforeseen things come, I mean, you're bound by that contract as well. So
Well, it's a good point, and you have a contract, you're right.
Well, I'm hoping that, like the administrator said, we don't foresee any more increases on this
No.
Yeah,
because
I think we
it's
all
gonna
see
really
that.
get out of hand.
Well, I think we all see that. Look, we would have loved to come in, without using 1% of the 20%, set aside. So I mean, that kind of goes without saying. But, I mean, you're not going to turn around and because you see, some additional increases and some additional work, you're not going to scrap the project. You can't go out. It's not feasible to go back out to another Democracy Day. We would love to do that. Again, the opportunity that you're taking tonight is that opportunity, is that Democracy Day opportunity for any of the residents to come. As they see, have gotten plenty of attention in the local newspapers, the additional bonding, right? That's the opportunity for the residents of the borough to come out here, and
they
I don't see too many behind you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they don't, but I'm speaking.
Well, they're engaged in other ways, and I'm
my
not saying that they
concern,
have to be
because
out here
it's-
tonight.
It's
I'm-
like, not every project you're gonna go out and say, hey, guys, this is gonna cost a lot. It's like, you have a car and the engine blow, you gotta make a decision, I'm gonna go fix this car, I'm gonna get another one.
You're right.
And that was the case, it's like, what, are we gonna dump money into this?
Well, again, I don't want to talk, I don't want to extend these public comments even more, but even if we did nothing as far as renovating that pool, we don't even know what the estimates would be, number one, to remove the pool and turn that into even just an open space or another park. And you got to keep that in mind as well. Repurposing that to a different use, it probably would be in the same neighborhood of where we're at today.
Yep.
Right? Without a doubt.
gotta
I mean,
take your
nothing's
word
for
it.
free.
I don't know anything about that.
Well, I mean, to remove just the concrete structure in itself, the pool house, all of that stuff, and leave it as an open field isn't going to be cheap. To remove and get rid of concrete and have the workers in there to do that isn't going to be cheap. And that's if you just leave it as an open field, right? If you then went to repurpose it to some other recreational facility, which I'm sure a Recreation Commission would have liked to have done if it wasn't a renovation of a pool project, you're talking probably millions on top of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Yes.
John Dean, 3321 Evergreen. So I agree. I think we notified everybody as best as we could to
I think so.
get
Thank
the word
you.
out there. Why we're even beating this
Thank
down
you.
again right now is beyond me. But just real quick, so are we paving all of what part of it is just getting paved?
So the reason why we included Katy Lane is because there's drainage issues
Okay.
in Katy Lane. Right now, we're looking at the pool parking lot and the drainage to fix all that ponding water on Katy Lane.
Along that side where
Yeah.
the wood ties are?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, obviously, if we have money left over, we would love to expand it
Yeah.
to something else. We still have those issues with the PAL parking lot as far as
Yep.
some of the design issues of that, so that's something that we're still in talks about how to.
So replacing of
alleviate
all
that.
the sewer lines and whatever underground utilities for the pool house, that's all included in
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
180 or whatever it is?
You say sewer lines?
Well,
Yeah, you were saying what lines
Storm
are?
sewers, storm sewers.
They're storm sewers.
Storm sewer. But what I thought you were saying is, when we went in, Len had Parsa come in and we TV'd all those lines.
Yeah.
And the work that we're gonna be doing at the pool, we're gonna be replacing all of the plumbing. that's
Out
in-
to that
Yes.
nearest manhole.
Yes.
So that's all included in there?
Yes.
Okay.
So we were hoping that we wouldn't have to do that, but we feel that and I know we've had these conversations.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure we do it right.
So yeah, exactly. That's the whole thing. Is like, if we're gonna do it, let's do it right. And
Yeah.
we gotta bite the bullet. We bite the bullet. So so in the 400,000 covers all that. So there's no other issues or anything. And a project this magnitude, I mean, for what we ran into, what you're running into now is nothing compared to what it could have been. So you're right. Myself personally, I don't see how you could run into anything other than going further.
I mean to talk to you, John, but it's kind of funny. I was going to say this, and I might as well say it while you're up here talking. You were here last year. Ordinances 2164 and 2165, which the mayor is going to read next. $2164, $150,000 of that happens to be Hadley Road Phase 2. They came in $150,000 less than what we had originally projected. So that money's being reallocated and used with grant money for us to be able to do, Corporate Boulevard, which everyone noticed needs to be done, Cragwood, as well as St. Nicholas. Well, unfortunately, 2165, right underneath it, happens to be a road project. We didn't have as many bids, and that came in slightly higher than we expected, so we needed to add money to it.
Gotcha.
So, this does happen, so.
Okay. No problem. That's all.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Anyone else? All right, I hate to ask, but council comments on ordinance 2163 that haven't already been addressed?
The only thing that I would say is that I just want to thank Glenn, Len, and Dominic out there. I mean, a lot of the
Yeah.
people that actually were out there and able to identify a lot of these things over the past few months. I know it's been cold and stuff like that, and, we're looking, just to say what Glenn said before, the original estimate was $20. This is an additional $3.47. And at the end of the day, the residents are going to have a beautiful facility to enjoy.
Well, I think Councilman Deed said it, and it's been said up here as a number of times. We wanted to do this right. We didn't want to do this, unfortunately, like it was done in the past, where you put a Band-Aid over something and then somebody else 20 years, 25 years down the road is complaining about what we've done. So I think at the end of the day, the summer opens, I think we'll be pretty happy with what we've got.
And it will be done right.
And it'll be
yes.
done right. All right. Can I get a motion for, do we have a motion already? We do.
We need to do a roll.
Can you call the roll,
Okay.
please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilman Benjavanga.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mott.
Yes.
Councilman Smith.
Yes.
Councilman White.
Yes.
Councilman Bullock.
Yes.
Council President Faustini.
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. Also for final adoption, ordinance 2164.
Bond ordinance providing for improvements to various roads in and by the borough of South Plainfield in the county of Middlesex, New Jersey, appropriating $1,375,000 therefore, and reappropriating $150,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $207,800 bonds or notes of the borough to finance part of the cost thereof.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for final adoption on ordinance 2164?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Wolak, seconded by Councilman White. Again, as this is for final adoption, we'll open it up for public comments regarding ordinance 2164. Seeing none, close the public portion. Council comments? Seeing none, Ms. Antonides, can you call the roll?
Councilman Benjavanga?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mott?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilman Bullock?
Yes.
Council President Faustini?
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. Also for final adoption, ordinance 2165.
Bond ordinance amending bond ordinance 2145, finally adopted June 17, 2019, in order to amend the list of roads on file in the office of the clerk and providing a supplemental appropriation of $372,750 for road improvements in and by the borough of South Plainfield in the county of Middlesex, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of $355,000 bonds or notes of the borough to finance part of the cost thereof.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for final adoption on ordinance 2165?
Motion?
Second.
Motion by Council President Faustini, seconded by Councilman Benjavanga. Again, as this is for final adoption, I'll open it up for public comments on ordinance 2165. Seeing none, close the public portion. Council comments?
Nothing, Mayor.
Ms. Antonides, can you call the roll?
Councilman Benjavanga?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mott?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilman Bullock?
Yes.
Council President Faustini?
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. Also for final adoption, ordinance 2166.
Bond ordinance providing for various sewer utility improvements in and by the borough of South Plainfield in the county of Middlesex, New Jersey, appropriating $230,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $230,000 bonds or notes of the borough to finance the cost thereof.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for final adoption on ordinance 2166?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Councilman Wolak, seconded by Councilman White. Again, as this is for final adoption, we'll open it up for public comments on ordinance 2166. Seeing none, close the public portion. Council comments? Seeing none, Ms. Antonides, can you call the roll?
Councilman Benjavanga?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mott?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilman Bullock?
Yes.
Council President Faustini?
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. And also for final adoption, ordinance 2167.
Ordinance that amends Ordinance 2160 that provides for the compensation of employees of South Plainfield and the method of payment of such compensation for the years 2020 through 2023 for non-union professionals and governing body.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for final adoption on ordinance 2167?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Smith, seconded by Council President Faustini. Again, as this is for final adoption, we'll open it up for...
Councilwoman Mott. Just for the record.
Oh, what was that?
It's Councilwoman Mott that made the second.
Oh, Councilwoman Mott. As this is for final adoption, we'll open it up for public comments on ordinance 2167. Seeing none, close the public portion. Council comments.
Nothing, Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Antonides, can you call the roll?
Councilman Benjavanga?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mott?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilman Bullock?
Yes.
Council President Faustini?
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for resolutions 20-72 to 20-79?
So move. Second.
Motion by Councilman White, seconded by Councilman Wolak. Ms. Antonides, can you call the roll?
Councilman Benjavanga?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mott?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilman Bullock?
Yes.
Council President Faustini?
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. We have 4 items of correspondence for tonight's zoning board minutes of October, Recreation Commission minutes from November, Environmental Commission monthly report for December, and the MCIA curb recycling program intend to participate. Can I get a motion, please?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman White, seconded by Councilman Smith. Ms. Antonides, can you call the roll?
Councilman Benjavanga?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mott?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilman Bullock?
Yes.
Council President Faustini?
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. On payment of the bills, can I get a motion for $464,707.42?
So move. Second.
Motion by Councilman White, seconded by Councilman Olak. Ms. Antonides, can you call the roll?
Councilman Benjavanga?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mott?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilman Bullock?
Yes.
Council President Faustini?
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. Mr. Rizzo, anything for us tonight?
Nothing progress, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Cullen.
Yes, Mayor. The only other thing I wanted to mention is, Ms. Antonides had received a letter last week from the county in regards to recycling. Anybody that's been paying attention to recycling knows that the price of recycling is, for lack of a better description, it's going up exponentially. We received a letter from the county on whether or not we were going to continue participating in the program. The contract with the county is ending. I'm going to meet with Councilwoman Mott. I think at the next meeting, either the next meeting or the meeting after, but I think at the next meeting, they're looking for a decision from the borough. And really, there's not too many alternatives. So even though we may be looking at a doubling almost of our recycling costs, it's still probably maybe the best, figure around that we can get. So we're going to meet sometime in the next, week. Again, we've met a few times already, but there's not too much good news coming out of the recycling.
No.
So I just figured I'd mention it here tonight. I have Alice doing some comparison figures for me, and like I said, I wish there was a way I could explain it positively, but there is none, and I don't think it's certainly out of the control of ourselves. It's out of the control of the counties as well. So it is something that's going on worldwide. With that progress.
Thank you. Mr. Miller.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. We're moving along on the road resurfacing project. That the engineer's working on that right now to get that out to bid. That should be ready to go out shortly, and we're also working on the project for St. Nicholas, Corporate Boulevard, and Cragwood, and those 2 projects will follow after the resurfacing. And those last projects were funded mostly by the DOT with minimal funds required from the town. And hopefully going out to bid this early, we should get good prices and get a good start on the construction season with that progress.
Thank you. Ms. Antonides.
Progress, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I met again with the Environmental Commission, and this time we had the Green Team, and they're working on continuing to get the credits for New Jersey Sustainable. And this coming week, we'll be now going to the Clean Communities meeting, and with that, progress.
Thank you. Councilman Wallach.
Progress, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman White.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just real quick update on the Hometown Hero banners. To date, we have 31 veterans that have been approved. So I'd like to thank the family, friends, and those who submitted those names. Also to remind everyone that you have until the end of February to submit your names for the banners. And the committee and I will be meeting the middle of February, and then we'll meet one last time the beginning of March. And at that point, we'll begin to pull together the names, and hopefully we'll be able to roll out some of the banners and everything coming this May for Memorial Day. We'll roll them out probably the week after Memorial Day for the new submissions. The ones that were previously out, those killed in action, they will be displayed for Memorial Day, and then probably the week after we'll roll out the new Phase 2 banners and keep those up through November. With that, progress, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Mott.
Progress, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Benjavenga.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would just like to take this time. Today is January 27th, and it is the 75th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. And my wife had the opportunity to go there 3 years ago to Poland and see it firsthand. And it's really an emotional thing. And watching on TV today, you know, the former prisoners that were taken and who were liberated went back today and actually went into Auschwitz, and it was just a moving thing to watch that on TV. And so, you know, to the 6 million Jews and countless others that were killed by the Nazi regime, keep them in our prayers, honor them, and remember that this should never happen again. Anti-Semitism, we need to work together to make sure that we combat it and that these horrific acts never happen again. So I want to, you know, bring up that fact that it is the 75th anniversary, that it's an important day, and that we should all never forget. And with that, progress.
Thank you. Council President Faustini.
Well, it's still cold out, but it's not too early to think about spring. From now through the entire month of February, Recreation is taking registration for T-ball for those who are 4, Teener ball for those 5 to 6, and ponytail softball registration for girls 7 to 13. We're also looking for volunteer coaches if anybody's interested in a coaching position. And I just wanted to share that tonight they had something that was started by Emma Morin, SP Rec Week, where they invited some of the Recreation basketball players to come up and come to a high school game at Recreation, and if they wore their rec shirts, they got in for free. They had a very nice turnout, about 30 to 40 kids, and they're doing it again next week, which is, February 3rd at 7 p.m. at the PAL. If you want to bring, a younger kid out to kind of see what the big leagues is all about, you'd be welcome. So that's it, and progress.
Thank you. I just have one item. The Mayor's Wellness Committee, after being in effect for a number of years and doing a number of events, we've rejuvenated over the years. We actually have filed for the first time our application to reach Healthy Town designation. So I want to thank Mrs. Boyle and also Scott Carey, who's on our committee. We, I think, spent a weekend going through and pouring through some old flyers and updating the application, and finally, I think, submitted it probably an hour before the deadline. But it got done. So we'll see what happens there, and keep your fingers crossed. I think it's be a good milestone for the entire committee and for the borough. With that, open it up for public comments. Anything on your mind?
Congratulations.
Shoot it.
Good evening.
I have one question about the $23. Is that per year? For how long? Is it every,
It's $23 per year. It will drop to,
But
Okay,
let's-
so at least 10 years.
But
just-
let's just make sure we clarify this, because there was some misrepresentations out there that it's not $23 each year. It's $23. So if you paid $1,000, you're paying $23.47.
You mean for your yearly tax bill, it's an
Correct.
additional $23?
Not each year, it hits once, and then once it's in there,
Okay, then
It's
what, yeah, but
it's
that
not cumulative.
$23 will be on our bill
not
every year for
cumulative.
It's not-
10
yeah,
years.
it's not
Flat.
cumulative.
correct, but it's
Right,
not
It's not going to be
23.
added, no.
It's not 23.47 this year and then 23.47 next year. That's why I just want to make sure everybody's.
No, but it will be $23.40 every year for 10 years. I'm
Yes,
not
so if
saying
you
added to it.
So if you had no tax bill, your bill would be 2347.
Right.
Next year, your bill
Right.
would be 2347.
Right.
The year after that,
I understand that,
2347.
yes,
Correct.
yeah,
But it's
okay.
not 234060.
No. I had some
Depends on how you look
questions.
at it.
Somebody questioned me on the, I don't know if anybody knows the answer to this, on the lights that are going up in Spring Lake Park. They're doing a light project,
Yeah.
and I guess they're putting them on poles. But they said there were lights up in the air also. Does that mean the park's gonna be open this summer, or?
I don't think they're
Does
changing
anything-
the hours. They're not changing the hours. The park should be open. These are new, the high-efficiency LED lighting. I think that's going on.
The decorative light on the poles, but are they doing upper lighting too? I mean,
No, they're
like
decorative.
street lighting?
They're decorative lights like you have out on the street, all around the
But
park.
are they high?
They're about the same size.
They're
as the
higher
ones
than
out in the street.
they're a little higher than they were before, I can say that,
Okay.
so.
All right, but as far as you know, it's not gonna be open in the summertime. It hasn't anything to do with that. Okay.
but there is more lighting than you can just tell.
Oh, I can see when I drive by, but
Yeah.
somebody at my last meeting asked me that, and I don't have any idea. Also, the hometown hero thing, you got 31 additional, whatever, right, I understand that. Do you have a designated area that you're putting these up? I'm asking that because the Business Association is working on welcome signs. And
Okay,
we're thinking of
right.
putting welcome banners up also in certain sections, and I don't want to step on anybody, so,
So, first, yes, there are designated areas.
yes.
Secondly, if there are welcome banners, it would be a similar situation to the Welcome to South Plainfield banners. They came down, the Hometown Hero banners went up for the time that they were up, and then the other ones were replacing them.
Okay.
So if that's the case, but I would suggest you
Well,
coordinate with,
we
coordinate
will
with someone from the
coordinate it with
governing,
you,
yeah,
yes.
with the governing, well, with
At-
me.
even in the
Yeah,
bad
with
meeting.
me.
Also, we were thinking of putting up welcome to downtown, someplace in the downtown area, and during the summertime. I mean, I don't think you need to have that in the wintertime or during our Christmas in July. But
Right.
if you were already gonna put them on those
Right,
streets,
so-
I'm not gonna,
So we can talk after the meeting, and I can explain a little bit more about where they're going to be going, because we haven't begun to display them yet, so we need to see the number that we're going to have before we determine where they're going to be in
so
town.
you haven't really determined yet exactly how far down the
We have
streets
it-
or what?
We have determined, but we don't know if we're going to have enough banners to fill all the spots that we
Okay.
determined.
Okay.
So we can discuss it after.
Okay, I just want to remind you, South Plainfield Business Association has a few things coming up. If you mark your calendar, I would really appreciate it. Career Day is February 26th. That's a Wednesday. We are signing people up. I do have forms here if anybody would be interested. It's just a morning thing till 11 o'clock. And you sign up every year, but you know, you have to work, okay? Taste of South Plainfield is going to be Monday, April 27th.
Be there if you want me there.
Well, we'd love to have you.
April what?
Huh?
April-
Taste of,
No,
April 27th. Easter's very late this year. It's not
That's the
the
taste,
12th,
April
so
27th.
We have to make sure that we don't interfere with anybody's holidays, okay?
Nancy, that's at the senior center again?
Yes. We've already booked the senior center, so they've already accepted our thing, okay? And Christmas in July, last Saturday in July, that's the July 25th, okay? And this year, we think instead of having it from 9 in the morning during the heat of the day, we're going to have it from 4 to 9, something to that extent, and we'll actually have a tree lighting.
Yeah, that sounds good.
We'll have ornaments, we'll
That's
actually make
cool.
it a Christmas in July type thing.
sounds
We just have to
great.
make sure that we get the vendors and, but if that's, I don't think we'll have
Yeah.
any problem getting the
It's a great
police.
idea.
I think
I
it's a
think
great
so.
idea, yeah.
It's just too hot for those
Yep.
kids to try and, I saw some of those, we actually had somebody get sick last year there
Yeah.
too, so.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember.
You never know what the heat of the day is gonna be like. Of course, The only other bad thing is that that's the thunderstorm hours.
Yeah.
But we'll pray a lot.
Yep.
So. Okay, that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Steve?
Yeah, Steve Daniel, 323 Wadsworth Avenue in the Borough. I went down to the recycling center. I'd like to know what work they're doing by the recycling soccer field there.
Yeah, I mean, I can answer that.
Yeah.
That work there is actually New Jersey American Water. And what they're actually doing is if you go down the Touching Road, they're actually starting at the Touching Road. They go under the brook. They have another, chamber, for lack of a better word, over there by the soccer fields, and then it goes all the way out to Woodman. You'll see a location with Woodman. What they're doing is they've shut down that line. They're bringing in water to everyone in that area from a different direction, and they're actually strengthening the inside of the pipes. That project is supposed to take place, and it should be done, they're hoping by the summer. And I guess they're lining the inside of the pipe itself without having, it's a cheaper method to do it that way than having to rip up, Wooden Avenue all the way through, all the way to the Touching Road, including what underneath the brook.
Right.
So that's actually what it is. It's actually a project that's being done 100% by New Jersey American Water. It has nothing to do with it, like a Superfund site or anything else. We've gotten calls like that. It's nothing like that at all. It's just strengthening the transmission line that we have.
Yeah, because I see they must be using corrosive material because they have a trailer there that says corrosive.
You're using a material that it just strengthens it, and when it's first applied, I guess,
Yeah.
at the time of application is changed.
Well, they're using a corrosive material that has to be refrigerated because you got a reefer there running all the time. And they have corrosive stickers on the trailer. I'd like to know why that trailer isn't, you lock up your transfer station there, why ain't that trailer, when they're not there, the workers locked in that transfer station? Why is it left unattended on the road there when you got corrosive material in it? I know it's probably locked.
I will look into it, but I believe it's secure.
It is locked.
It's definitely secure.
Actually, they've been questioned on this before, and the trailer in particular, their construction engineer has come back with a letter certifying that they're doing everything in
Legal.
accordance with the requirements.
Right.
So we've already checked into that, and they're meeting all the requirements
Yeah.
for the type of material they have on that trailer.
Right.
Additionally, I do think that they are paying for a police off duty
Right.
to
Guard it.
check all these sites.
Yes.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Sure. Anyone else? Ms. Boyle? We'll get to you next, Leon. Sorry, I didn't see you there.
Debbie Boyle, Van Fleet. I also would like to thank Emma Moran. I think she did a fabulous job tonight. There were the team players from rec who came and stood with the varsity players during the national anthem. And then they also called out numbers from their shirts, and they received little gifts.
Wow.
They all got bracelets. I think she did a tremendous job organizing that. She's a junior at South Plainfield High School. Also, February 4th is the Mayor's Wellness Blood Drive in conjunction with the Student Council at the high school from 7:30 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. If anybody would like to come out, please join us. February, just another date, February 22nd, I believe, is the high school music boosters dinner at the Elks, pasta dinner. So if you can come out and join us for that, that supports the musical arts students. Also, our spelling bee is February 5th at the Senior Center, beginning at 6 o'clock at night. From 5:30 to 6, our instrumental section of the high school band will be playing for a half an hour as entertainment for the parents that are coming out with their students or whoever else comes out. There'll be refreshments. And I just have a question. I believe part of your paving is going to be Yost Field, which is part of the borough, the grass part. You're not paving, oh, that was announced. Okay, so you're not, that's not, it's the borough property. I don't know, somebody announced it at the Board of Ed meeting. No?
Interesting.
Okay, so it's the grass area, so
Yeah.
you're not, that's the borough part.
No, the
There-
Board of Education.
there's been some-
Has been
somebody
talked,
said-
the Board of Education has reached out, we're having a shared services meeting tomorrow, but they had talked about expanding that parking lot, but we're looking to see what they want to do, but we haven't had any confirmation on that.
Okay, well, it's the grass area.
I
and
know,
that-
I know, yeah, I know what area it is. They, Tom Cassio reached out to me and talked about what they were looking to, do it last year with the bond
Yeah.
referendum. But it just was too much of a change order with the bid. So they're looking at what the options are this year, but we have a shared services meeting on that tomorrow.
Okay.
I think one of the considerations is we go out to bid, let's say, one of these road projects, obviously, we're gonna have a fairly significant project, and doing something like that as a deletion item or an add item on the project itself, because of the economies of scale, but, we haven't reached that point yet this time.
Okay, well, thanks for clarifying that. Thanks.
Sure. Leon, I know you've been patiently waiting for an hour. No.
Thank you. All right, Leon Guzowski, 2309 Celine Avenue. The Tuesday after the last meeting, the tree came down.
Wow.
I came in tonight to thank everybody, especially Mr. Rizzo for the letter you put out, which
It's all Mr. Rizzo.
that helped a lot.
Yeah.
Well, important thing, nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
Right.
Again, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
You have
And
a
we
good
did
night.
some very windy days these last couple of days, so
Oh, I was smiling.
I'm sure you were.
Well, and thank you
Good
for your,
news.
thank
Great
you
to
for your
hear.
patience. Thank you for your
We're
patience
gonna
Suzanne.
as
miss
well.
you. Please come back, we're gonna miss you.
Don't,
He'll be back. He doesn't go anywhere.
Suzanne Lepore, Bullard Place. On behalf of the Cultural Arts Commission, I just want to give you an early reminder that we will be having our talent showcase
Oh.
again this year. Audition dates are February 22nd and March 1st. The showcase itself will be on the 29th. For the auditions, both days, the audition times will be from 2 to 5, and the show will be starting around 3 o'clock.
So we turn that
so-
over to the council president to come up with a council
I'm
act.
definitely, I already have an idea in mind.
Well,
and,
you know my
yep.
idea.
Yeah, well,
so-
I think that it was a good idea. If
Okay.
you want to tell them what it is, that's fine, because I think that's what we're
So I
going to
had
go with.
proposed to our committee to do, as far as doing something as our committee. We don't know yet who's going to audition with what,
Right.
but I don't know if anybody's familiar with, oh, now I can't think of the name of the song. Bronco.
I don't think we should announce it.
Oh,
No.
let it be a surprise?
I think it should be a
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
let's leave it a
I'm going to
surprise.
try and convince everyone to join with the Cultural Arts
Okay.
Commission and do it as a group.
Yeah, oh, the Get Up.
So if we
song.
want to
That's the
leave
Get-
it as
yes.
a surprise,
Well,
that's
also,
fine.
just to give everybody
Okay.
a peek at it, it's doing a somewhat of like a flash mob routine with the Get Up song.
That's it.
So
Okay.
if you can Google search or you search it on YouTube and
29th of
Christine and I
March.
have our shirts ready. I don't know about the rest of them yet, but
already have
we
shirts.
have
29th of
our
March.
outfits ready and
Oh,
everything.
okay.
Yep, yep.
So, yeah.
Don't we have something the 29th of March?
When is it?
I think I'm out of town.
It's
The date of the show is March 29th?
Yes, so
Yes.
the date of the showcase is March 20th.
You said
You're here,
audition.
you need a flannel shirt, red flannel?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I
I'm
mean, I
going
think
with
we'll
red.
leave the attire up
All right,
to the
creative
individual.
license.
Okay, we're
'Cause
going to
if
gavel
we
this
start
one
putting
down.
restrictions,
Move on.
if we put restrictions on that, then we'll never get anybody involved, so. But, yeah, so, but we have the auditions are in February 22nd and March 1st. So
Oh,
I'm
March
looking
1st.
forward to hopefully having a very good show again this year. I mean, we have a good track record behind us, so
April,
we'll keep it going.
March 29th.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Ravi Pelajani, 705 Delmore Avenue. As we're at the start of this brand-new year, just curious to see what the council and the mayor, what the idea is around just the businesses around town. Something that I've noticed, and, I'm sure there's a lot of people with more tenure here than I am. I'm coming up on about 7 years living in the town.
Okay.
One thing that, me and my wife, we really noticed was, a lot of businesses are closing right after 1 year. So just through the rumor mills, we hear things about, Chick-fil-A opening up in, Middlesex or something like that, and construction's ongoing. But just curious to see, as we're starting this year fresh, we're coming to a close on month one, what does 2020 really hold from up-and-coming businesses that are coming into town?
So meet Councilman White. He handles economic development for the
How are you?
borough, and he'll give you a little prelude.
So, well, let me just talk a little bit about the process. I try to work with the business owners to help with regard to getting businesses that may be viable for their locations. They do the negotiations, they negotiate the leases. In terms of some of the businesses that have closed, since you did address that, if you think about some of the ones that have closed in town, they're national chains that have closed throughout, the United States as well. In terms of some new businesses, we have a new business coming in called Shake It Up Nutrition. It's going to be going into the former Delicious Cravings property over on Plainfield Avenue next to Moan's Pharmacy, Moan's Florist. You mentioned Chick-fil-A. We also have a new business called Create That Party, small business as well, mom and pop business, local business. So there's some things that are coming on. There's some things that are ongoing. LA Fitness is going to be going into the Oak Park Commons. They're going to be sharing that space with Aldi's. So that's coming in. So there's some things on the horizon. There's some things that are still in negotiation. Discretion is extremely important during the negotiation period. So as of right now, that's what's going on.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone else? That was much shorter than he usually is. All right, seeing none, we'll close the public portion. At this point, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Motion?
Motion by Council President Faustini, seconded by Councilman White. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Have a good evening.